The sad truth that 99% of men refuse to believe when it comes to female nature is that in order for a woman to truly love you, adore you, and admire you, she must never feel good enough. Now, for anybody who this is the first time you're hearing this and this sounds drastic or something that you've never heard before, I advise you to stick with me, because on this marker board presentation today, what I'm going to be doing is showing you how you can have the psychological leverage as well as the upper hand in majority of any relationship that you get into. And this is what a woman needs from you in order to feel feminine and actually treat you with respect. Because if you're not able to maintain this, what's going to happen is she's going to pull back. She's going to look at you as a man who is not her best option, and then she's going to gravitate towards a higher value man, and you're going to be wondering what happened. Stick with me, because this video will be life-changing. After this video is over, be sure to go down below, go to the link in the description, and check out MBT for the Masculine Behavioral Technique full-length webinar that I put together for you. I say that in every video because with the transformations that I have seen, it is truly life-changing if you want to copy that into your dating life and get results at a much quicker pace. Let's dive in. Now, just read it with me, because this is going to piss some of you off, okay? Women must never feel good enough in order to love you. Now, what does that mean? Okay, let's actually take this slow and figure out what that means, because you can't self-improvement your way out of this one. You can't make more money out of your way this one. You can't get to 6% body fat and your extra two-pack of abs is going to self-improvement your way out of this one, okay? When I say women must never feel good enough in order to love you, that is a feeling. Okay, so what I'm actually describing is that the feeling that she needs to have at all times is that her sexual market value is inferior to yours, meaning you are up here and her sexual market value is down here, which means she looks up to you. So the reason why this is so important is because when men enter into relationships, A, they don't know how to gain the upper hand, and B, they don't know how to maintain the leverage. A woman wants you to have the upper hand. A woman wants you to have the leverage. The second that she starts to have the power and the control or the authority over your emotions and in that relationship, rest assured is the countdown to the end of it. So here's what I can tell you. Men who conceal their interest level and intent leave her uncertain. So there's a specific reason why this is so important. The biggest reason is that it gives the illusion of a higher SMV, a higher sexual market value. So here's what tends to happen when a guy gets into a relationship. Woman wants guy to commit, okay? So he does. Guy commits, okay? We've all been there. Girl's like, you know, when am I gonna get more of your attention? When am I gonna get more of your time? You know, I only see you once a week, blah, blah. And then, you know what happens is you say, okay. And you think, God, that ass is good. Those panties are nice. Those lingerie is good. So we do it, like every guy's been through this. You're sitting there and you're thinking, you go, all those faces and all the noises that she's making in bed, goddamn, that looks good. You know, I could see myself continuously doing that with her. God, that is good positions I had. Look at that. So you go, okay, I'll commit. So he commits, okay? What this is really saying, okay, when a woman asks for your commitment, when a woman asks for your time, when a woman asks you to be her boyfriend, or she's saying, where is this going? Okay, she wants his emotional investment. That's what she is wanting. The woman is wanting your emotional investment. A woman can go get sex anywhere, but she's wanting your emotional investment and your care, because at the time, since she feels like your SMV is above hers, what happens is that she's looking up to you. So she wants the value extract from that man. Now here's what tends to happen. Okay, she wants his emotional investment, but soon, day by day, as you're more stable, as you're consistently there in front of her, as every single day she knows that you make toast in the morning for breakfast, you take your shit at 9:20 a.m. after you have your espresso, okay, you go to the same spot for lunch every single week, and you grind on your computer until 8:20 p.m. when you finally go to bed, because you're trying to make a lot of money and be high value, but at the same time now you're boring and predictable. Now what happens is your value that you once had, the emotional investment that she wanted, your value no longer holds weight. Say that one more time. Your value as a man no longer holds weight, which means she doesn't want it. Well, here's what you really have to look at this as and boil it down to is women only wanting what they can't have or what they don't have access to is hypergamy. One more time. Women wanting what they can't have, women wanting access to what they can't have is hypergamy. So if you make $1 million a month, you're a famous NBA player, but every single day you ask her where she wants to go out to eat, and you're there every single night, and you're cuddling on the couch eating potato chips, you have now lowered your SMV. So high value is not materialistic status. High value is how hard you make that woman work for your approval. Glad we got that out of the way, okay? What I'm trying to explain to you is that if every guy views her as a 10 and you see her as an 8, the beauty of this, okay, is that what's going to happen if you view her as an 8 is now you're going to be giving off higher value body language. Okay, when I say higher value body language, what that actually means is when you're around her, you are going to be less touchy-feely. You're going to have better vocal tone. You're going to be not worried about certain words that you say if that pisses her off or if that offends her because you feel like your SMV is above hers. So because of that, you got to realize a woman, when she looks at a man, never wants to know that she is his best or only option. So when you view that woman as an 8, when every other guy on planet Earth views her as a 10, now you give off higher value body language, okay? You give off better vocal tone. You're less touchy-feely. See, some of you guys, even if you don't tell a woman, I love you, the fact that you try to hold that hand, you got to understand, she sees this through your sub-communication. She sees that twinkle in your eye that you get when you look at her. She sees how much you laugh at her jokes and without you're smiling around her. She sees that you're consistently 1 day a week or 2 days per week asking her to come hang out with you. She sees all this shit. So you don't even have to say it. You say these things with your eyes. You say, I love you, and you say, I'm attached with your eyes, with your mannerisms, and you give off weak body language. Now the woman starts to pull back and exit. So when you can view her as an 8, what that does, or like a 7 or an 8 instead of a 10 like everybody else, this now signals that you're not fully sold on her, okay? Most women who are super hot, you got to understand, since this woman grew boobs, she's been used to every man on planet Earth kissing her ass, saying, can I buy you a drink? Can I hold that door for you, pretty lady? Oh, you know, I thought you were so adorable. Can I get your number? I would love to take you out. This is what this woman has been used to her whole life. Like, almost part of her wants to know what it feels like to look up to a man, just for once in her life. So this signals that you're not fully sold on her. Now, this feeling satisfies hypergamy. Notice, she doesn't know if you make 20K a year, 50K a year, 100K a year, $1 million a year, and truthfully, it doesn't fucking matter. Because all she's sitting there at night thinking is, you know, he didn't text me back since Wednesday and today's Sunday. That's what she's thinking about. You know, this is the first guy that I've ever, you know, we've slept together a couple times, and man, I went over and I thought I did a good job in bed, and I wore sexy lingerie and I put on good perfume, and you know, he must not like me. But see, like me as the person. Women don't look at the lens of the world a lot of times through intimacy and through potentially having sex like a lot of men do. Women actually look at the intrinsic value, the internal. She can only see the world through her lens, which is the pink kaleidoscope glasses. So when a woman says, he doesn't like me, okay, she might know that you're attracted to her, but when she goes, he doesn't like me, she's looking at the individual, because that's how she looks at you. She looks at you as the individual. She looks at you as to what's on the inside. She looks at you as what is the internal guts of the man. She looks at you as what is the charisma and the personality traits that I fall in love with as a woman. This is the things that she's thinking about. So naturally, she can only think that you perceive love that same way. The biggest cheat code that all of you have from watching my motherfucking videos, I tell you what, is you are finally able to start to put on the pink kaleidoscope glasses and try your damnedest, try your absolute fucking best to see what the world probably looks like just a little bit from the eyes of a woman. Because I'll tell you what, women do not do a very good job at putting on the blue kaleidoscope glasses and then trying to see the world through the lens of a man because they've never had to. Most women don't have to work for a man's approval. Therefore, they have never had to take a step back, objectively think, objectively look at the world, and objectively make the decision of, how can I win this guy over? The fact that you can see this, the fact that you can even possibly envision what the world might look like when she's perceiving different value of men that are in front of her is your biggest cheat code I have ever given you. So this feeling that you're not sold on her satisfies hypergamy. Why? Because she has to work for his approval. So what you got to realize here is this is why women only become obsessed with men who don't want them back. Because you not wanting her back is the signal of high value. You not wanting her back is hypergamy. Not your bank balance, not that you're 6% body fat, not that you drive 6 Maseratis, one for each color, like in 10 different colors. That is not what she cares about. So she needs that validation. Like, you gotta understand, she needs that fucking approval. She needs that fucking approval. When she's sitting there on her phone and she's like, God, why didn't he text me back? Why didn't he FaceTime me back? I didn't hear from him. It's been 2 days and now he liked my message, or he hearted my message, but he never answered my question that I asked him. He never followed up with how my day's doing. He just said, my day's going good, send, and he hearted that I sent it. Why isn't he engaging in conversation? She does not want to lose one, okay? And the reason why is because she doesn't want her SMV to take a hit. She does not want her sexual market value to take that hit, okay? Here's what you have to understand. When you have even built like when a woman has even built a slight attachment to you, here's how you know that she did that. Number one, she initiates contact in any way, shape, or form first. She initiates contact, meaning she'll say, how's work going today? How'd that interview go? What's another one? I just made macaroni salad for dinner. You might think that that's very subtle, and it is, because women communicate covertly, but to her, that's a big thing. She's like, look, I just put in effort to that guy. Talk to him first. If you actually get a good morning text, you got to understand she has very high interest. Another way that you can tell is if you've slept with a woman probably more than like 2 to 4 times, somewhere in that bracket. Like, typically what I found is the attachment usually comes between sexual encounter number 3 to 5. Right there, that's the sweet spot of like she's in her feelings right now, because not only did she come over once to test the waters, not only did she come over a second time to really test the waters, but if she came back a third time, she likes you, okay? You at this point have the upper hand as long as you don't fuck it up. So here's what you got to understand. When a guy does pull away, or when a guy isn't sold on them, or when a guy isn't trying to invest hardcore into a monogamous, committed relationship with a woman, they literally can't stand to lose one. They cannot take it. They can't take it. This completely like bends their mind in half. They can't stand to lose one. This makes them furious. It makes them furious about their potential beauty in the eyes of that beholder. It makes them furious about how their personality is. She starts to look in the mirror and go, well, I fall in love with a man's charm, seduction, and charisma. Am I not charismatic enough? This is what she's going to ask herself. This is how these women will now, they're going to start to try to bend like their personality almost to try to figure out what that guy wants. Do I need to cook for him one more time? This is what she's thinking. This is why I'm telling you. Never, ever, 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 ever give a woman your full validation or your full approval. As soon as you give a woman your validation or approval, she'll interest test you harder. And I have stopped using the term shit test. I don't even like the term competency test, because they're not necessarily even testing your competency or like how much shit you're willing to take, in my opinion. I think that's a very poor example of it, because then I feel like men are focused on looking for the wrong things. She's not looking for that. What she's looking for is your interest. She wants to gauge your interest level. So you know what? If you're dumber than a box of rocks and you're not that competent, but guess what? You're not sold on her, and every time she throws out an interest test, you pass it by not taking bait. Do you understand that that right there is going to raise interest? That right there is going to make her look at you and go, damn, yeah, there must be something about him. Okay, glad we got that out of the way. When you do give a woman your validation and your full approval, she'll also think that she's the best that you can do. The reason is because if you're willing to commit, she assumes that she's probably the hottest woman that you're able to attract. This probably isn't true. A lot of times for guys, this isn't even true at all. A lot of times women's hypergamy will even lead them wrong, and she will tell herself that she can find a higher value male, when in actuality that is completely false. The only difference is that the guy just didn't lay the right psychological cards. A lot of times women think that they can do a hell of a lot better than they actually can. And the reason being is because there's actually not a whole lot of high value guys out there. So if you've made any of these mistakes, don't beat yourself up for it. Just understand that new information, new decision. Okay, say that one more time. New information, new decision. There's new information you just discovered, new decision you have to make on how you're going to live. If you're willing to change the way you live, you're going to excel in every single area. So not only that, she feels like she's put on a pedestal. Okay, even if you're just naturally normal or caring. So when I say naturally normal or caring, I'm trying to like let that sink in for a second. Because a lot of you guys, myself included, even a lot of I've met other, so like there's other influencers that you guys know who are very well known, who I've networked with, or I've Zoomed with, or I've met up. These are guys with multiple hundreds of thousands of Instagram followers, multiple hundreds of thousands of YouTube subscribers. Dude, everyone's just like a normal guy. And if you like your girl, you're going to want to care about her. You're going to want to go buy her dinner and you guys go eat dinner. You're going to want to If you have a home and you're going to watch TV, you're going to want to naturally grab a blanket and cuddle up with her. This is normal male behavior. But you got to understand that she doesn't interpret or see the world that you do. So just because you think these things are okay because you can do them or you can get away with them, doesn't mean that she looks at it like that. And it takes you getting bit a couple times to understand these things. Just being a normal guy or caring, every single guy that I've ever, like, I'm gonna tell you this straight up, every guy I've ever networked with on Zoom or in person, or these are high value men who make bank, all of these guys have been through this. And you have to go through this to learn. This is the competency aspect of masculinity. This is the competency aspect of how you develop wisdom and actually be a man. Because I'm gonna tell you what, these things are not common practice. You have seen celebrities get divorced. You have seen celebrities get dumped. You have seen high value NFL stars, NBA players. You've seen high value guys who have loads of women after them. As soon as they fail these interest tests with women, you watch their wives pull back. You watch their girlfriends leave them. Some of the best contextually, some of the best players I've ever met, guys who are naturally smooth with women. Okay, like even the guys who are great with women, great at seducing women, great at going on dates with women and having sexual encounters with women. I have met these men personally. Some of these men, when they enjoy a specific woman, fail these things too, because to men this is not necessarily common knowledge, due to the fact that men like to see ROI in things that we care about. So if you care about your business, you're going to put effort into it. If you care about your body in the gym, you want to see ROI into that, you're going to care about it. So since they think backwards, you caring, you just being a normal guy who cares about something that you enjoy, I can't control this and neither can you. This registers as low value. Now what's going to happen? She'll become rude to you. She just starts being mean to you for no reason. She's going to be rude to be around. She's going to try to talk to you less. She's going to not enjoy your company, and she's going to start to act like you're a burden. She's going to act disgusted with you. Now, not to mention, here's the biggest thing that you can expect to happen. When you give a woman certainty, when you give a woman your full validation, when you give a woman your full approval, she 100% will sex withhold from you. And this is going to sting, because the reason that you got to understand and internalize this is because she can't even control it. The reason why she can't control it, if a woman sex withholds from you, it's up here. Psychologically, there's red flags going off in her head about you. And you might think, well, I'm caring, I'm nurturing, I'm a normal guy, I'm doing everything right. No, you're not. If you were doing everything right, she'd want to keep sleeping with you. Here's what I can tell you. She can't even control it. The reason why she can't control it is because her biology is telling her not to reproduce you. Her biology is looking at you and she's going, there's something wrong with that motherfucker. I don't know what it is, but I'm not turned on by him. There's something wrong with this motherfucker in front of me. I don't know what it is, but I sense weakness. This is her biology giving her the red flag. Her biology is telling her not to reproduce you. Her biology is telling her to reproduce. Her biology is telling her not to reproduce you, which means she closes off access. So then what happens is her biology thinks that you became weak. Her subconscious thinks that you can't stand up to her, therefore you can't stand up for her. This is how a woman thinks and this is how a woman operates. If she starts to see that you fail one too many interest tests, and keep in mind, these are subtle, okay? When she looks at you with those puppy dog eyes, if you smile and light up, interest test failed. When you're laying on the couch and you go like this to hand hold first, interest test failed. When you're sitting on the couch and you say, let's grab a blanket and snuggle up, come lay by me, even though you guys have already slept together and there should already be an attachment formed on her end where she seeks those things from you, and you say, come lay with me, baby, interest test failed. Do you understand how deep this goes? Every time you send a good morning text or check-in text first, interest test failed. So every time you do one of these things, she knows where you stand. And every time you, and you're sitting there thinking, well, I care about her. I like her. Yeah, so do we all do. I don't care what, and some of you guys, you think, well, she's traditional or she comes from a religious background. You can't fight her hardwiring. I don't care if she comes from a single parent household, two parent household. I don't care what type of neighborhood she grew up in. I don't care. This is how women behave and this is how women operate. So her subconscious thinks that you can't stand up to her, therefore you can't stand up for her. Women are survival creatures, and the reason why she's closed off sexual access to you is because at this time, at this point in your life right now, for whatever reason, when she looks at you, you're now a bad bet to her survival. I can't control that. Truthfully, she can't control that, but hypergamy says differently. And since her hypergamy is telling her not to reproduce you, now she's going to close off sexual access. Doesn't matter that you bought that wedding ring. Doesn't matter that you've been married for 20 years. Doesn't matter that you guys are still in the thinging it phase for 6 months and, things should be common cohesion between both of you. None of these things matter, okay? And since none of these things actually matter, what you have to understand is you don't get to change the rules just because you think you're different. The amount of men that I've met, and myself included back in the day, where I would say, well, you know what, I'm ripped, right? I got big muscle, I can say whatever I want. Nope, you can't, because you'll still fail the interest test. I've seen guys who are financially successful that say, well, I got a big house and I got a swimming pool and I drive a, supercar and I got a Corvette and I got a Lamborghini, so I'm cool and I can do this. Nope, you can't. Interest test failed. You are not different. You are nothing special, and you are the same as every single other guy out there. And I don't care if you're 6'4", I don't care if you're 6'6", I don't care if you make $20 million a month, and I don't care how many sports cars you have. You fail these interest tests, you stop acting like you're high value. Yes, I said acting, because you can act high value like you're a stud, whether you make $100 grand a year or $1 million a month, I don't care. You stop acting the right way, you're gonna watch women close off access to you. So here's what I can tell you. This is why women stay with men who treat them very poorly. When you treat a woman poorly, here's what happens. She starts to see that this guy never makes her a priority. When she sees this guy never makes her a priority, what happens is her mind goes off. So she goes, you know what? He could be out drinking with friends. Maybe he's just ignoring me and doesn't like me. Okay, not only that, maybe he doesn't have an 8, 9, or a 10 interest in her attraction. He probably doesn't, which is why he's not talking to her. She senses this. She goes, well, he doesn't have an 8, 9, or 10 interest. So naturally, she just views him as a catch. This is hypergamy. You containing your interest. Say that with me. Why did I start over here with the first line? You're going to notice every presentation I make is set up. So these headlines up top connect. And you're going to see how this headline connect. Like I draft these very, very specifically. The reason why I started here with men who conceal their interest level and intent leave women uncertain, this is why. Now you're the bad boy, now you're the asshole, now you're the player, without even trying to be. How funny is that? You not replying to 1 or 2 text messages makes you an asshole. Guys, you don't have to be out doing crazy shit. There are subtle tweaks in your behavior that you can do to position yourself as a high value guy. So here's where guys go wrong. They think in order to maintain a woman's interest, in order to maintain a woman's attraction, okay, what guys tend to think is guys think that self-improvement is the answer. Self-improvement is not the answer. You can improve yourself, and that buys you the 30 to 45 second window when you either approach a girl in public, at a house party, at a bar or club, out on the street at a coffee shop, or you're online and you maybe match with a chick and she's like, okay, he looks attractive. That's all that it does for the girl. Beyond that, you have to have personality traits that signal high value. That's the one benefit you have as a cheat code as a woman falls in love with the internals of a man. If you can demonstrate the right things internally, convey that through your charisma, convey that through your personality, you'll be miles ahead. Self-improvement is not the answer. Passing the interest tests are the answer. This is the answer. This is the game in a nutshell. Interest test after interest test after interest test you have to pass. So whether you make 50K or 500K a year or 5 million a year, doesn't matter, because revealing interest reveals your sexual market value. Revealing your interests reveals what type of girl you're used to getting. Revealing your, and keep in mind, like I said, we all like beautiful, sexy, attractive women. If you made me these mistakes, it's fine, because every single guy will do this from time to time. Every single guy makes these mistakes. Every single guy does this stuff. So she doesn't feel good enough for him. So then what happens is she naturally looks up to him. Okay? This right here is why women oftentimes will stay with guys who treat them poorly. She has something to look up to. Now, here's what you got to understand over here. This is why women leave all the men who treat them well. If you treat a woman well, rest assured she's going to leave you in due time. Okay? I don't care how she was raised. I don't care what type of household she comes from. Read this with me. All women will leave men who treat them well. So here's what I can tell you. The more dates you try to take her out on, the more vacations you suggest to go on, the more calls and texts that you give, okay? The more planning you do to spice things up. This is the other BS lie sold to men, is you need to keep things spicy and you need to make sure that you spice things up so you're not boring. This is false too, because guess what? You committing in the first place doesn't outweigh, okay, the difference in competition anxiety that you relieved her from. So keep that in mind. The more dates you do, the more vacations, the more calling, the more checking texts, the more she goes, he really likes me. Look at that nice guy really like me. This is what she's sitting there thinking. She goes, he really likes me, how nice. You know what? He really likes me. Since he really likes me, you know what? I don't really like him. And you know what now she's going to do? She's going to start, now she finds flaws in you. You know, if he was just a little taller, if his hairline was a little more symmetrical. I can't put my finger on it. He just, there's something about him. Maybe it's his vocal tone. I don't know if I feel the same way. This is what she's going to say. I don't know if I feel, I'm just not in it like I used to be. Okay? Understand this. The more that she goes, he really likes me. The more she sits there and goes, I really don't like him. This is how a woman's brain works. So, she doesn't play games. Women don't play games. This is what a lot of you guys type in. Why did she play games with me? Why did she leave me? You type this shit into the computer. Why did my girlfriend play games and leave me for a different guy? Women don't play games. Women have never played games. Okay? Games don't exist. She just doesn't like you as much. And the reason why I know this is because women are led by their emotions. Call that impulsive, call that what you will. If her emotions are signaling, text this man, you like him, that girl's gonna text you. If her emotions are signaling, he's low value, I don't like him anymore, she pulls back. It is the simplest thing to comprehend when you just cut the bullshit and you accept it for what it is. She pulls back all of a sudden when you really like her. Then she returns calls more slowly. Then she sets less and less dates. Then she never checks in on your day. And then you don't hear from her. And that's just how it goes. And this happens even if you've slept with a girl 5 times. Maybe you guys slept with each other 20 times. Maybe you guys were in a relationship and you slept together 100 times. Just because oftentimes for men, sex is the most important priority for you, and you feel like you're winning, so to speak, because you've gained sexual access, women don't see the world through that lens. So just accept it for what it is. They see the world through a different lens. So what happens if she pulls back like this is your ass tries to go and read between the lines. You try to read between the lines, and I'm here to tell you that there's nothing to really read because she doesn't like you. So when a woman likes a guy, you know. Okay, when a woman likes a man, you will know. She will return texts on time. She'll call you back. She'll always check in on how your day is going, and she'll genuinely do the things to make you feel like she likes you. This is like this is very clear to see. The way that you will know that a woman likes you is she switches to overt communication. Okay, what is overt? Overt means she communicates in a more direct fashion towards you. Overt means she is overtly saying the things she wants you to know. She's overtly doing that because she's trying to reveal her interest level so you as the man don't have to read between the lines. Women typically speak covertly, okay? If she checks in and says, hey, how's your day going? Or if she checks in and says, I just got done going to the movies, and she just says that randomly, that's covert communication. Covertly, what that actually means is she's wanting you to have the competency to look at that and go, she just wants to make communication, she likes me, or she's thinking of me. That's what she wants that to mean. That's covert. When a woman really likes a guy, meaning she's in love, she's attached, she's head over heels in love with a guy, she'll switch to overt communication. Overt as in, hey, I love you so much, please never forget it, send. That is overt communication. Why would she switch to overt communication? Why would she start to communicate more directly? Why would she almost choose to communicate in a more masculine fashion, as in being directional, logical, okay, exactly to the point, and that speech is very direct? Why would she switch to that style of overt communication? Look how this ties in. Because hypergamy can't stand to lose one. I drew a whole dotted line around this whole thing to lead you to point number 2. Okay, because they can't stand to lose one. You have to understand this. Position yourself as the type of guy who she would never want to lose. If you can do that, you can signal to hypergamy that you are the highest value man that she has access to. They can't stand to lose one. If you can exercise that, and you can make sure that from time to time she's required to switch to overt communication in order to please you, so you don't have to read between the lines, so you can get the direct communication text saying, I appreciate you so much, send. I can't wait to wear this cute lingerie for you on Saturday night, send. Hey, thinking about you, love you so much, send. If you want those types of text messages, you need to make sure that you signal that you have the highest value SMV that she has access to. If you like this video, I want you to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.